So this week we are going to learn more about responsive design. You do need to read some pages in your book, and then the lecture demo is split into two different sections. Most of the information is in part one, because that's covering basically all the mobile and responsive design concepts. And we're also covering the grid view responsive layout. What I did, because there's two different responsive layouts that are named similar, I put the grid view into part one, and then part two just covers CSS grid. Grid view and CSS grid are two different layouts. So part one is where most of the information is going to be for this week. Part two is only covering CSS grid. So part one obviously is going to be longer than part two, although CSS grid is more complicated. So you're going to want to go through both and read through everything, work through the interactive examples, and then you are going to do the textbook assignment. And the textbook assignment actually has exercises that utilize both techniques. So to start with, the first couple exercises you do are going to be grid view, because it's a little bit easier to work with. And I am giving you websites that have most of the work done. So you're basically modifying CSS and tweaking some of the HTML. So you're going to start by creating your folders like you always do, and then you'll do task 2, which involves taking the Acme vertical folder from lesson 10, copying it into a lesson 11, and applying grid view to that. And these bold and highlighted adjustments are what you need to change. So you do need to go in and make changes to the HTML, and there's several different HTML pages that you have to change, and then you'll also have to change the CSS. Then there is a Zen website with multiple pages that you're going to be downloading and adjusting. And again, you will be applying grid view to this. Okay, and I basically go through, indicate, what you need to set up for those modifications. In addition to making the Zen pages responsive, you are also going to make the site printer friendly. So task 4 involves creating a style sheet for printing. So it kind of goes through all of the changes you need to make there. And then finally, in that same Zen website, we are going to add SEO attributes so that when you do searches, that page will come up to the top. So you're going to be adding those attributes as well. And then I show you how to preview your pages in Chrome using simulated mobile devices, which is kind of a cool little feature that's built into Chrome. And you're going to want to definitely do that to see how your pages look on the different devices. Okay, and then when we get to task 7, by this time you're pretty familiar with responsive web design. And so our focus in task 7 is on CSS grid. So all of the design concepts that you've learned are kind of incorporated to the page already. All you have to do is add the code for CSS grid. Okay, and so this explains how to do it, and there is a video you can watch that'll walk you through the whole thing. And then at that point, you'll be done and you can submit all your work. To give you some additional practice, the lab assignment involves creating your own responsive page. And it can either be a grid view layout or a CSS grid. And what I did is I took the same example and I did both layouts. Okay, so you can pick whichever layout you like better. The video kind of walks you through what you need to do for the lab assignment. And I do want to point out that you can actually reuse this lab assignment for your term project. Okay, so term project incorporates a responsive website, and this is going to be a responsive site. So if you spend a little time on this and create something that you like, you can reuse the code for your term project. So once you get done with the lab assignment, you're going to go into the discussion forum and you are going to post a link to your responsive page so other people can see it. Post a link to your responsive page and explain the following. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for the early birds so they have something to reply to. So here is a link. And I'll actually put a link to my other one too. You only need one responsive page. So I'm going to do a Control C on this. You do not have to do two. Only do one. And then I'm going to answer the questions. Who is the audience? I will just say anyone who needs to be inspired. What is the purpose? Hopefully to inspire others. How did you decide on the design layout? Let's see, I like orange for colors because it signifies creativity. I used the responsive. It looks like I'm going to have to pick one, so I'll get rid of CSS grid. Grid view because it all devices, and let's see. I grouped the links. All right, let's see, I tried to balance. Okay. So that's pretty much what I was thinking when I set this up. And for those of you who have no one to respond to, you can certainly respond to mine. So that is what you're going to be working on this week. I hope you have fun with it, and let me know if you have any questions.